Every sim racer wants to get faster, so we binge watch guides, tweak setups, even give advanced racing technique a shot. And hey, sometimes it works, but then progress just dies. It's not about the info out there that is bad. The real problem is that most of us are skipping some stages along the way. We're trying to drive like aliens while still braking like toddlers. So in this video, I'll walk you through the 5 development stages every fast sim racer goes through, step by step, so you can actually build your skills in the right order and finally start improving again. The first stage is what I call survival mode. Mistakes are everywhere, but you're hooked. You're watching other drivers go faster and wondering, how the hell are they doing that? They make it look easy while you're just trying to not spin every lap. Crashes, lockups, off tracks, it's all part of the deal. At this point, your only real goal is simple: just keep it on the road. But there are a few key skills that will help you get through this stage a lot smoother. And the first thing is having the right expectations. It's so easy to look at faster drivers after you just driving a couple of weeks in sim racing and think, why am I not closer to their pace? Let me tell you a secret. Some of these guys have been doing this for a decade. It's no different than picking up a shooter for the first time. Imagine you've never touched a game like that before. For example, you install Counter-Strike and boom, you're instantly matched with people who've been playing it since they were 12. Of course you're getting wrecked. Sim racing is the same. You're not slow, you're just new. That being said, once your expectations are in check, I would highly advise you to set up your wheel, pedals and in-game settings properly. It doesn't matter what sim you're using or what rig you have. Spending a bit of time researching good baseline settings will save you a lot of frustration down the road. I'm talking about force feedback, field of view, sitting position, pedal placement, all of it. These things don't have to be perfect, but they should be good enough for you to help build the right habits. Because if you start with poor settings, you'll start adapting to those, and that leads to bad habits that are harder to unlearn later. I have some videos on the channel about the force feedback and pedal placement topics, so I'll add those for you in the video description, just above that shiny like button that you can press right now. And once you start getting those settings in the right place, the only thing you really need to focus on is the basic of racing line theory. The idea is simple. You want to start on the outside of the corner, turning towards the inside, known as the apex, and then unwind the wheel back out to the outside of the corner. The reason we do this is to make the corner as wide and smooth as possible so you can carry more speed without sliding or losing control. Forget trail braking, forget fancy techniques, just nail the line, because if you can't drive a smooth line, none of the advanced stuff will help anyway. So stage 1 is all about having the right mindset, a solid configured setup and the basic racing line theory. Stage 2 though is where the actual driving begins, and it's all about control and consistency. This is the point where you stop crashing every other lap. You're finally keeping the car on the road most of the time. And now it's less about surviving and more about figuring out how to drive smoothly and consistently. You'll start hearing people talk about things like slow in, fast out, be smooth on the throttle, avoid overdriving the car, learn trail braking and so on. But here's the trap. A lot of drivers want to go faster now and they jump straight into advanced stuff. Big mistake, because this stage is all about building repeatable habits, not chasing lap times yet. This is where you should focus on driving the same line lap after lap, or braking in the same spot, or watching replays, not to judge but to notice patterns. Consistency might sound boring, but without it, nothing else sticks. Mastering this stage means one thing: you'll be consistently slow. And yes, that's actually what you want, because consistent laps, even if they're slow, are the foundation for real improvement. Now, if there's one extra thing that will really help you later on, it's turning off your driving assist, specifically the racing line assist. Yep, that glowing line on the track. Get rid of it. At first, it will feel like you have no idea where to put the car. But that's exactly the point. It forces you to look ahead, pick up your own reference points and actually see the track. It also helps you avoid blindly following the line into crashes, which happens way more than people admit. If you're comfortable with all of that, you're not spinning, you're driving a clean line and you've ditched the training wheels, then congrats! You're ready for stage 3. This is where the vast majority of sim racers end up. You want to focus here on some key skills. For example, stopping the car efficiently under braking. This means maximizing your braking pressure in a straight line, getting the car slowed down as quickly as possible before turning in, or trail braking. This is how you carry just the right amount of brake into the corner to keep weight on the front tires and help the car rotate. I actually made a video called The Only Trail Braking Guide You'll Need in Sim Racing. It was made a while ago, check it out if you haven't already seen it, as it has tons of detailed information. Another topic might be the downshifting rhythm. It's timing your downshift so that you don't upset the car and you stay in the power band, or understanding early versus late apexes. When you should cut early or you should cut late, this is very important, so this is how you're gonna be learning how to prioritize corners or exploiting the track limits. If you're using every inch of the circuit on entry, apex and exit, you'll be fast. The track is wider than you think and speed comes from using all of it. But there are some other important skills, for example vision, hearing and feeling senses, dealing with different corner types, elevation changes, throttle control, understanding the tire model, understanding car systems, brake bias, TC, ABS. Whew, there's a lot, and I actually have a whole chapter in my sim racing course going in depth in these topics, and that's just one of the 16 chapters of the course. So if you want to level up faster, feel free to check it out at getgoodracing.com, the link will be in the video description. But look, the goal at this stage isn't to master every single skill. It's just to become aware of them, start putting them into practice, and develop the technical background that you'll build on later. Don't try to master trail braking if you didn't familiarize yourself enough with the downshifting rhythm or with the early versus late apex concept. This is the mistake that many people make. You need all those skills under your belt first before starting going in depth on each and every one of them. Because here's the problem in motor racing. Nothing happens in isolation. Every input affects the next one. If you're not braking at the limit in a straight line, or you're late with your downshifts, you'll end up turning later than planned. And even if your trail braking is picture perfect, the whole corner falls apart. So the real goal at this stage is to be more familiar with all the core skills, enough that they can start working together. Only then does it make sense to go deep on any one of them. When that happens, you're ready for stage 4. Remember all those skills from stage 3? Well, stage 4, it's almost like a black hole, sucking everything, and progressing further becomes way harder. Here is where you can spend months and years to make those skills become second nature. At this point, you already know the basics. You can take corners cleanly, brake with confidence, and you understand racing line apexes and car balance. But you're still leaving time on the table. You feel it, you see it in fast drivers. And now it's about closing that gap. This is where the tiniest details start to matter. Your braking point is off by 2 meters, you lose a tenth. You hesitate on throttle, there goes another tenth. You miss the apex by half a car width, the lap time is gone. The only way forward here is deliberate practice. You start analyzing your laps, comparing your inputs with faster drivers, reviewing telemetry, or even getting coaching. This stage isn't about learning new things. It's about perfecting what you already know. It's also where a lot of sim racers burn out, because progress is slower, less obvious, and way more frustrating. In reality, the only way to get past this stage is through serious, focused effort. You need to analyze telemetry, record your own laps, and compare them side by side with faster drivers. You need to study, read racing books, take courses, and drive as often as possible. At this point, it's about being obsessed with the details most people ignore. Because here's the thing, most tracks have around 12 corners on average, and if you can squeeze just 1/10 of a second from each corner just using solid fundamentals, that's 1.2 seconds right there. That's the difference between being midfield and battling with the top split guys. This stage is where gains get smaller, but also way more valuable. And if you're the kind of driver who's willing to chase them, then you're ready for the next step. Welcome to stage 5, also known as Nirvana. At this point, you've reached enlightenment. Your chakras are aligned, your brake traces are clean, and you're dominating most of the races you're part of. Except when you go against the very best sim racers out there. Oh yeah, even at this stage, there are still faster drivers around the block. you just don't meet them as often. If stage 4 had you sweating over 1/10 per corner, now you're chasing something even more ridiculous. 300s. That's 0.03 seconds per corner. Times 12 corners, that's about 4/10 per lap compared with the absolute limit. What does 0.03 seconds look like in a corner? It's nothing, it's invisible, you can't see it on the screen, you just have to feel it. This is where the top 0.5% of sim racers live, also known as the aliens. The ones they've maxed out consistency, adaptability, racecraft, tire management, mindset, you name it. Every input is intentional, every mistake costs. For most people, stage 5 isn't even necessary. You don't need to get here to be fast, competitive, or to enjoy racing. But if you're obsessed and you've made it this far, this is where sim racing starts to become an art. For me, personally, I'm usually somewhere in stage 4, but honestly depends on the car. With some cars, I can push closer to stage 5. With others, not as much. And that's totally fine. Driving race cars, even virtually, it's a skill that's basically impossible to fully master. Because the better you get, the more you realize how much more there is to learn, whether it's consistency, racecraft, or just raw pace. But here's the good news. It's a skill anyone can improve. Talent is just a big myth. If someone like me, who struggled for over 2 years to make real progress, managed to eventually reach the top 1% in iRacing and coach real-world racing drivers, then man, trust me, you can improve too. So go out there, enjoy the process, and keep leveling up. Let me know which stage you think you're currently at, and I hope this video helped you in some way. If it did, hit that like button, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.